Hey,
Oh, we've done it.
we made it again.
Consciousness. Welcome back, you all. Thank you, our dedicated listeners like Taylor and Angela, always here.
Yes, hello.
Prompt. We appreciate you
Taylor.
so much. We're so excited tonight. We've got a really good friend of the show, Jack Stanis, who was introduced to me by Michael. And for a minute, when I was out on Long Island, it totally inspired me to learn herbalism.
Yeah. We had a good couple of journeys with Jack in the forest.
A great interest in it, and I think you guys will be really interested in so much of the cool stuff he has to say. You know, he's really a man on a mission, and I like people like that. So often we have people on the show who are a little esoteric, I guess is maybe the word, in the way they speak about things. It's a little hard to digest, I think, for most people. But Jack is all about trying to help people connect easily.
What's up, Ninja?
The wonderful world of plants and how they can help us. Hey, Ninja Kitty, how's it going, girl?
Yeah. Jack he's just such an amazing guy, and I think even beyond what you're saying, I think he's a great example of what we talk about all the time on the show about living life consciously. You know what I mean? He's kind of on his journey, and he's done some amazing changes over the years that I met him actually. He's like one of those people that you meet, and you know how we feel about the universe, right? It's like,
yeah. And unlike a lot of the people we've had on the show, Jack's very young. Jack is woke as can be, spiritually, and has a lot to offer. And very wise kid. And I say that only as a testament to how great and wise he is.
Absolutely,
his age. He's going to have more and more to offer as the years go on. But we'll get back to Jack in a little bit. How's it going over there, Michael Zinn? How's
life is wonderful. Man, oh man, since before this started, I guess this started out of all of this energy that was happening between you and me and life and all of the things that we were talking about. I've opened some doors. Those opportunities I've been talking about are really starting to work out. I've got my current employment and my future employment working together to get the best out of me, and it's awesome. It's really, I'm going to have the opportunity to do some really cool things with projecting inside environments and creating immersive experiences and doing a lot of the things I've been wanting to do.
All the things we've been wanting to do.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I have something like that to impart as well, which
cool.
So many pieces of the practical brain want to kind of shut down something like this. But suffice to say, I had gotten a little bit of money, and I had been warned that I was supposed to pay a agent, fee to somebody. Mm-hmm. But it was so long by the time I got the money, I completely forgot. And usually speaking, working through my voiceover agent, the agent fee would be taken out beforehand, and I just didn't think of it. Right. So I had dedicated all this money that I had to various things, so I could get a new computer and a couple of things that I really needed. And then I was reminded that I owed that money, and I was like, oh crap. I'm like, where am I going to get that money?
Right.
But I only thought that for 2 seconds, and then I went, all right, well,
it'll come.
It'll come. And obviously the thing is in motion beforehand and whatnot, but on the spiritual level, there is no time. And I see and would say that it was my disconnect of worry from that thing that allowed magic to happen. And yes, this magic might have started earlier, but I didn't know about it. I only found out about it a day or two later, as my dad hit me up and said, you just got 2 random checks from Kia Motors. I don't even know how they got the check to my parents' house. I'm so confused, actually.
The universe.
Yeah, exactly. And not only did it cover what I owed, but also gave me a little bit of extra money.
Yeah. Awesome.
In terms of that I needed for other things. So it was out of nowhere, which was great.
Right.
So that was really cool and felt cool. A real spiritual.
So that's awesome. That's a great story. I love it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but Taylor, we were just talking about this. You gotta tell D to hook up that microphone because
I sound bad.
I don't know. Well, Taylor says, does Jesse get a new mic? So what does it sound like? Jesse, she noticed that you got a new mic, and we noticed that the phone is ringing or something. Something's happening over there.
Somebody's calling during my show. What is this?
Leave the Snyders alone.
Stop bothering us. Do I sound awful, or am I?
I don't think you do. Just Taylor noticed. That's all. And okay. Janet's saying hello, so we're saying hello to Janet.
Next week I'll sound better. I'm sorry, my dad rearranged the things, and I didn't give enough time.
Where's D when you need him?
He's working out right now. But yeah, I had a cool week. I did. Me and my whole family played volleyball over the weekend, which was awesome.
Oh yeah, I saw those photos. Yeah,
it's such a good time. And I had a baseball game where I didn't know the rules exactly, and we only lost by one, and every one of my little mistakes I could
have. You were killing yourself for it. It's that what did you say you were? Your astrology or triple Virgo or something?
Six house Virgo or something?
6 house Virgo, yeah.
But and then I just finally joined Cameo. I got in Cameo. Yeah, I got invited to be a part of the Cameo.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you were talking about that when you were here.
A while back. Yeah, and I said I was going to do it. I just didn't.
Man, you could do some fun stuff, I'm sure.
I hadn't had my computer and stuff. I'm not granted.
Right.
People like on the phone largely, but I just was not in my comfortable space yet, so I was waiting to add in a new thing. But yeah, so if anybody wants to find me on Cameo,
you know what? I'll talk about with you. I'll help you do some fun. What you got to do is you got to do a couple and put them out there on social media so people know that you're doing them. And
yeah.
You know, we'll come up. We can come up with some funny ones.
The thing today was I got to meet with or sit with my new friend from my ayahuasca journey, Rudy with 2 O's, as my mom likes to call him, because he
Rudy with 2 O's
that way to her. So and my mom got to sit down with
shout out to Rudy,
talking about all the ayahuasca, journey type stuff, and he's been working. I think Rudy has been. I think he said 400 times now he sat with.
Wow. With holy ayahuasca Batman.
Well, he's from Haiti originally, so they've got like a background of sort of anti-voodoo, but little slightly spiritual, but also a little blocked, because in the spiritual world, guys, we tend to think that one thing's bad and another thing's good, and it's kind of relative, It's
a good way to put it.
Within the scheme of the thing, it's all God kind of pulling in each direction, and getting to an open place where you see that everything can be a demon, everything can be. It's all really where you end up in terms of your perspective on it, and that's really what this show is about becoming conscious, becoming conscious of that imbalance that is inherent in unconscious people. Because if you don't know, you're just and then when you start to look, you go, oh, well, maybe I'm being a little too loud, or maybe I'm not being assertive enough, whatever it is. And this is how we learn and how we balance ourselves over time. But it was really great to speak to Rudy and hear about, some of his journey with the medicine and resisting certain topics and things, and finally making a lot of breakthroughs. And Rudy's a really great guy, and he works as a guardian for the ayahuasca ceremonies when people come as an assistant to, if people are having a hard time on the medicine, to back people up. So he's had a long history with this, and I'm really excited. I want to get Rudy on the show, but we are a developing calendar right now.
I'm excited about that. Yeah.
With plans, and I think me and Michael, when the show's done, we're going to probably finish that calendar off and get it over to Nancy so we can start promoting these things in advance.
I love what's happening on the comic book side calendar too. The actual big surprise guests that seem to be on that list.
Oh yeah, there's so many people
cool people.
I've got some cool people as well, so I just wanted to kind of see where we were at.
So Angela's saying that the spiritual realm has been a little crazy this week.
That's funny. My very sensitive girlfriend has been reacting, and I have been feeling like crap all week long,
Mm.
doing my typical thing where I'm like, I'm weak. Why am I so weak? What's wrong with me? Even though generally I'm in good spirits, but hey, I've been feeling so tired, and so has she. And I've been wondering, I've been looking to see if anybody else has been saying anything in my like YouTube accounts and stuff, because I listen to certain people who channel and
Right.
you know, based on like the energy and stuff, who I've come to trust. And but I didn't see anything immediately. But it's nice to hear that you're feeling kicked around by the energy, Angela, because it's going around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting what you were just saying about the bad and the good, and coming to the balance and all of that, because I've been having some pain the last couple of weeks in my knee, like really bad pain. I didn't hit it, I didn't do anything, it's just like all of a sudden, right, hurting. And especially when I'm sitting driving, it's like it hurts, like it really like starts to like gnaw at me, right? And I was like, you know what, mind over matter, let me just imagine that this is like, instead of intense pain, like intense orgasm pleasure.
Yeah. Hey.
And I tried. I almost got there. I was like, all right, it feels good. It feels good. Yeah, it feels good.
Can I tell you,
I tried though.
Whether it worked or not, what you were doing was very wise.
Yeah.
It
distracted me, at least for the moment.
A Kundalini awakening is like this thing where like energy is broken free from your root chakra and like it goes up your body. When I had mine, my body was in such disarray. It was shortly after I had I had come to my chronic pain every day.
Right.
And I had been working on it for like a little bit, but I was not much better. And I think my hips were like kind of crooked and stuff. And my Kundalini awakening was really painful. It was so painful. Like, and I was like when you have energetic blocks, it like kind of shakes your body because it's hitting up against these things.
Physically, yeah, you're feeling it.
I was like getting like pulled into this clench, but the clench was so harsh on my muscles because my muscles were not good. And I was so uncomfortable. I forced myself out of it the first time. I begged like the spirits. I was just like, please just let me try this again tomorrow. I can't do it anymore. I need to like
let me try it tomorrow.
Rest. Like, cause it was over.
Spirits.
It was for a long time. I meditated for like 4 hours and this thing started happening. Wow. It was overwhelming. It was really painful. And when I went back the next day, the intuitive thing was pleasure is pain. And I saw this thing, and it's similar with hot and cold, that like if hot is the this, then cold is the this, like, and it's just sort of like where the sensation starts and ends. You know what I mean? Like starts out hot and goes cold.
Good way to visualize it. Yeah, it's a good way to visualize it.
And that pleasure was pain on so many levels. Being penetrated was pleasurable when you had the perspective that it was. Being uncomfortable and like caressed to a degree is wonderful. Being uncomfortable and caressed to like it's but they're all levels of your perspective on it. Right. And when I was able to sort of channel this pleasure is pain, pleasure is pain, pleasure is pain thing, I got through it, and I had the Kundalini awakening, on that day, the next day, and it was good. It turned into a largely euphoric thing, but it was really painful, like until I got to that place, because it was just I was really just sort of like tensing up, and my body was not feeling good. And I was just like pleasure is pain, and I was just like as innocently as I could, but I did eventually I was able to. Basically, like I always find it's such a huge thing when you're meditating or like committing to like a mantra or whatever, like committing, like I don't care how long it takes, because when you sort of like you put like a tone, well, let me see how this goes.
Right.
Reality doesn't really get you very far. But if you're like, I'm gonna do this shit.
Same thing as jumping in a pool. Sounds just like it.
Exactly, jump in the pool, and the moment I mentally go, I'm just gonna sit here and do it. Pleasure is pain, pleasure is pain. At a certain point, like that commitment, I think really is like a thing that helps.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then once you're in the water, you're like, oh, this is so freaking nice. Why the hell did I do that? Why did I?
And I knew that the thing that they were trying to do was important. This Kundalini awakening was important, but I was really like, I want it to happen. I know it's supposed to happen, and it's a good idea for me. But right. I need to try again. But that, I mean, honestly, my spiritual awakening, largely, the in between moments, my cool meditation moments, cool plant medicine moments, those are all great highs, but so much of the difficulty is like in between. But in of those moments of like meditation or plant medicine things, that was like probably the hardest thing that I ever went through. Getting that Kundalini awake, getting through the Kundalini awakening, it was
All right. Well, you made it through. Here you are.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about the pain anymore. Let's talk about good stuff.
Oh no, I'm all good now. But I mean,
I know you are.
You know what is it? I feel like I need to say that because generally speaking, things are kind of easy. Some of my experiences very easy for me, but not all of them. And that was one of them. That was a real woof.
Yeah. Big time. So I'm gonna actually let me get back to the story I was telling about the universe and people in your life kind of come around full circle, and like they're in your life for a reason. You meet them and then you come across them in different capacities. And Jack is he's one of those people for me. We met on set. He was actually just like a production assistant, I believe, helping us out with this short film we were doing. It was like somebody's passion project, there wasn't a big budget or anything like that. He was a very cool dude. We met, and him and this other guy, Mike Dahm, who was also involved.
Mike Dahm, I love Mike Dahm.
Yeah, Mike. So I kind of, they were like a team. And then actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the story goes a little deeper. They approached me a year or two later, and they had written a story together and liked my personality and wrote a character based on my personality, and were asking me to play that character in their short film. It was very interesting. It was very, very cool. Are you trying to hook up that microphone?
Did I? Am I successful?
Oh, that sounds much better.
Sexy. Check it out. Look at this.
Nice. Good job. So that was one way he came back around into my life. And that was, I don't know, for you, maybe people come to you and like, oh, I wrote a character based on your personality. That never happened to me before. So it was exciting, and it was cool. And I actually did a reading of some of the script, and I don't know where that's at. Maybe we'll get him to talk about that. Maybe we can't talk about it. I probably shouldn't be talking about it.
That's very cool. That's always
it was
nice,
very cool
compliment.
And then he came back into my life. When he started doing this Powerful Plant Allies YouTube stuff, I had come across him. And now he's actually, I think I witnessed this because I don't think he did this before. He discovered music, and he is a musician, and he is writing songs. And this is what I was talking about as far as like spirituality goes in our show and how it's related, because I feel like he's in the flow. He's gone inside, he's discovered who he is, and it's all coming out. He's becoming himself in a very, very powerful way. And I'll let him tell you the story when we bring him on. I don't know if how'd I do for the introduction? I've been trying to work on my introductions.
You're killing it, man. Let me just say, Jack Stanis is the real deal. A genuine, loving soul who is here to help people and raise the vibration on this planet. And he's got fabulous, soft, kind wisdom to give us all. And I'm so excited to introduce him to all of you.
Awesome. All right.
How was that?
That was good. That was a perfect ending to kind of my beginning. I didn't want to get into what he does. I figured let's talk to him about that stuff. So let's bring him on.
Did I get into what he did?
Yeah, no, you didn't. I'm bringing him up. Here he comes. Ready? Here we go. Drum roll, please. Hello, Jack.
Hey, Jack. How's it going?
What's up, buddy?
I love you guys.
Thank you.
How's it going out there in Long Island?
It's spring.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is your time of year, right?
Yeah, everything's flowering. I mean, I just went on this beautiful bike ride today, and like everything was out, like almost everything. Some stuff comes as the season goes along, but all my favorites were out, all my favorite plants. So everything is blooming, everything's coming to life again after, it wasn't really a cold winter, but it was still a period of dormancy. Everything's coming. So that's exciting. It's good here. It's good.
Is it how diverse is it, from your perspective as an herbalist, like from state to state and whatnot? I know we've got a decent amount of landscapes around the planet, but as you study as an herbalist in one area, that doesn't necessarily make you well versed in other areas, or how does it go in your mind?
Yeah, so that's what's very fascinating about it is you can learn about plants worldwide by just picking up a book, and a lot of people who are herbalists and practice that, they stop at just that, and they learn it, which is good. It's great to have a well-versed knowledge on, the herbs across the world. But for me, it's different because in order for me to learn, and this is with anything for me, it has to be very hands-on, and I have to almost meet the thing that I'm working with. So that is why I started basically going out a couple of years ago. I mean, we'll talk about my journey in a couple of minutes, but that is why I basically started out going out into my ecosystem in my backyard and identifying plants right here that people would think are weeds or just trees. And
yeah, that was the coolest thing. He brought us around with my children as well. It was really cool. My kids were super into the whole experience, and we were eating wild berries all day long, which was great.
That's great.
But he lit me up with information as far as plants that I had seen constantly around, from the mugwort and what was the other one, the really tall plants, the mullein. Like I've seen these things a million times, growing up. I've lived on Long Island most of my life. And but I never knew that these were some plants that I've been working with as a plant medicine man myself, and that they were growing in my backyard, and that also these ingredients for various medicines and things were available so readily, just in your nearby woods. And it's so cool, for those of you who don't live on Long Island, it's not the immediate medicine that you could get, but all around your neighborhoods and states, it's worthwhile to pick up a book of like local flora and fauna and what's around, and because you can pick up some great stuff for your home for free.
And you're talking about ecosystems and stuff like that. Yes, the littlest change in elevation and atmosphere can change the whole deal. Like, for example, I was out in Arizona looking for apartments.
I was going to say you just posted some pictures and you were out.
So
I love that cactus picture that you posted, the reunion with the cactus.
Yep. So the Sonoran Desert, that's where Tucson is like right in the center of it. And in Tucson, it's surrounded by mountains, and there's a famous mountain called Mount Lemmon out there. So my partner and I were out there, and we're like, you know what? Let's leave the Sonoran Desert and let's just drive up the mountain an hour. And within an hour, I felt like I had walked through a portal and was in upstate New York. And it was because we climbed like 5,000 feet, and down below it's 100 degrees in the Sonoran Desert, and up there it's like 60 degrees, and it's all the East Coast plants that I love.
yeah, that's crazy. So it felt like New York in Arizona.
Like for me,
that's
because
cool.
We're thinking of moving out there.
Yeah,
it was more of like you can travel far away from the East Coast, but like these plants will still be with you. You just have to drive an hour up and they're all there,
right.
So yeah, that littlest change. Like I could, Long Island is pretty much its own ecosystem. But like, for example, like there are plants out in Montauk that I could find that I can't find like Middle Island or out by Queens. Like it's just the slightest little temperature change, humidity change. So many different things can grow. That's the most exciting part about it, and that's why I'm thinking about going out there, because, I could drive to California and there's a whole different ecosystem. I could do to New Mexico, Utah, right. Colorado, all of that's out there, So although I'm very well versed in Long Island and a majority of the East Coast plants, it's going to be a very exciting journey for me to go out there and discover again. It's almost like.
So wait, you said you're still trying to decide. I feel like you're already there.
Oh no, but we're about to sign.
There are other options.
I'm out there. Was that?
Yeah.
No, this is why we love Jack, by the way, because of his passion and enthusiasm for these the plants.
I love watching him talk about it.
It's infectious, and like I said, my kids, I've got a range of ages, and they were all so engaged. And my daughter left going, and that's the one that has pepper, and that's the one, like she learned a whole bunch of stuff. I was impressed.
I love that. Yeah, a part of my soul is like, even when I went 2 years ago, when I went out there, there's just something about the Desert West that changed my whole life. And like,
have you been to Sedona?
No, not yet. I can't.
Oh,
Sedona's an
really? You
interesting
have
location. You should
Wow.
go visit.
The three of us will have to go make a trip there. That would be
I
That
love that.
would-
I always like an excuse to go.
Wow. We were actually talking about something like that.
Oh yeah, so we're gonna plan that then.
A
but
live stream of consciousness, live streaming from Sedona.
yeah,
That would be insane.
For our 100th episode, we'll do it,
Oh
Michael.
my God.
Yes.
That I'm writing that down. We're
But, like,
manifesting that.
there was something like that cactus picture you spoke about of me in the saguaro. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like when I went 2 years ago and I left a part of my soul there for 2 years, like I would dream about it at night. And then when I went back last week, it was like I was whole again. And then when I came back here, I left something there again. And, you know, I'll be
That's
back
so cool.
living there. But it almost is
Yeah,
like,
you're connected to it. It's a place you're connected to. I definitely see you out there. And that's why I was surprised when you said you hadn't been to Sedona, because I feel like my folks live in Scottsdale and I've been
nice.
to Sedona. And I could totally see you like just
It's lovely. You know, it's got the Red Rocks thing. It's definitely they say on your drive up, like if you drive in there, you feel the change in the vibration, and
vortex, yeah.
definitely experienced some of that myself. It's a great place. I like Sedona a lot to visit. It's a cool one. I think the consistency of like the Red Rocks and like, you know, the vibration there is like just really vibey.
I really can't wait. Like it's
Totally.
I took it back. I was like, when we get there, you bet within a month of us being there, we are driving up there. I said there is no ifs, ands, or buts. If I have to take a day off of work or whatnot, like we're doing it.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
So tell us, what was your spiritual journey? Were you born spiritual? Were you raised spiritual? How did you get, sort of awakened to?
How'd you
this
become
path?
Jack?
Yeah. How did you becoming Stanis?
Becoming Stanis.
I guess I always have been Jack inside. And just like a majority of us, we're born on this planet where there is such strong programming and, you know, such a grip on our consciousness to be lowered that, you know, as a lot of kids my age became so, you know, encapsulated in, you know, going to school and having to find a job, and that was the way of life, and then you work and then you die, you know, that whole concept of just like, that is the meaning of life and that's it. And it wasn't until I started working with my first plant ally that I started to slowly break open, and that was Mother Cannabis. Now, cannabis was a very huge catalyst in my awakening process. At first, very gradual. You know, I would merge with her, and she would connect me to like dormant hurts and dormant stuck energy that was within me. And, you know, at first, when I started consuming cannabis, it was very painful for me because, Jesse, like you were talking about energy breaking through your body, it was almost as if every time I had a session with her, and I wasn't even really open about this to anybody else that I was partaking with. It was more of this internal thing of just me, you know, overcoming. Like it was like every time I merged with her, there was a lesson to be learned there, and there was something that I was leaving when she left my body at the end of the emergence. There was something that I was going to discover about myself, or something that I was going to heal about myself. After merging with her for, I'd say, about 4 or 5 months, I had this calling to take fungi, mushrooms. And that's why I always say cannabis was the catalyst for guiding me to that, because if it wasn't for that mushroom experience, I don't think I would have had, I probably still, you know, everything happens for a reason. You probably have discovered everything, but it downloaded all of this like ancient, I don't want to say knowledge, but ancient experience from my past lives that just like within 2 hours, I came out of it a totally different person and looked at the world in totally different eyes. And that was the start of my acknowledgement that, hey, Jack, wake up, you're living on a planet in the vastness of the sea of space, you know, and which a majority, that's everyone's first experience, is just that awareness of like, wait a minute, we're, you know, we know we're living on Earth, but like, what is Earth? Earth is this little planet. Earth is this little microscopic ball, you know, so all that stuff's going through your head. And you grow this deep love and appreciation for this planet. Now, taking that experience, at that time, I was a filmmaker and I was about to jump into film school. So I went into film school because Jesse, I had worked with your brother Cody, and he knows that when I was younger, that was a very big, passion of mine was film. It still is. I adore film. It's an amazing art form, and a lot of people don't look at it as an art form. But I went to film school, was there for a semester, and then an old friend of mine had one of his old friends from high school. He was Mike. Mike.
Mm-hmm.
We love Mike.
His friend, Dr. Z, Dr. Eugene Zampirion, I think I said that right, runs this eco tour. And I had told Mike that I was basically looking to get into more of the documentary style of filmmaking, and more of like instead of writing a script and creating film based on a fictional idea or whatnot, even that's a powerful way to get a message across. I wanted to use my talents to start to document the world and sharing that with people who could not just buy a plane ticket and go to somewhere, or learn about something. So Dr. Z runs this eco tour called Eco Tours for Cures, and he's ran it since I think 1990. I mean, he's been to Jamaica every year since they were young, they were in high school. And so he started to run this because he's the head of the naturopath program in Bridgeport University. So I always heard Mike talk about it, and I was like, you know what, why don't we just jump on this, and I'll bring my camera and we'll just document it, and we'll do it for Dr. Z so that he could use it for promotional purposes, or that he could even just have something to hold near and dear to his heart, just so I had the experience of doing something like that. So this was in March of, I believe it was 2017 or 2017.
Nice. You got someone saying hello. You got Angelina.
Hi, Angelina. How's it going?
just wanted to let you know, because sometimes you might not see the comments.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Sometimes I talk and I'm someone else.
This is a great story, by the way, and I think I've seen some of the pictures and video from this, because maybe you used it on your show. But continue. This is a great story. Keep going.
We're going to give you an opportunity to point people in the direction.
Yeah, I'm going to put it up. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we got to Jamaica. And, the first thing I noticed was just its absolute natural beauty, which everybody on their first glance would look at it. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I had that appreciation for the earth and, for caring for the earth. But it didn't go, I wouldn't say, because deep down inside, I know who I am, and I know I always had this. But at that point, that was all that was revealed to me. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Just that appreciation for the earth, and acknowledging that the earth is here and she's alive and she needs to be taken care of. So we got to the campground, or Strawberry Fields. That was the name of the place that we went to. And, I set up my tent. I was going to camp the whole week. A beautiful view of the ocean. Whatever, we got adjusted that first day and whatnot. The second day was when we really started the adventure. And Dr. Z is really good friends with a local group of Rastas that help them with the tour every year, and they were going to take us on their annual walk to the falls, Kwame Falls, which is just this haven of it's, talk about a vortex. It's a vortex.
Yeah, it's beautiful there. I've been there.
You've been there?
Not to that specific place, but Jamaica.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
It's beautiful, and there's just an amazing energy there.
Yeah, no,
I keep it in my brain for like, I have an interesting story about being at the dentist and going back to Jamaica in my brain. Just because that. I'm just like, okay, I'm on the beach in Jamaica. Anyway.
Yeah, so basically it was their annual walk to the falls. And what they did on the walk to the falls was they identified plants. I mean, they knew what the plants were, but what they did was they harvested plants that we were going to use the next day when we got back for a medicine making workshop, making tinctures and salves and all that good stuff.
Sweet.
So I had me with my little camera. My partner was with me. Mike was there. And, we start walking. You go up the campground, you start walking down this dirt road, which is going to take you to the path through the jungle. And, plants just growing on the sidewalks. And I see these guys that live on that road just going up to them, bare feet, that they're not wearing any shoes or whatnot. and they're like looking at the plant and digging through them, almost as if there is like this communication going on that I don't even know if they're aware of. Maybe they are aware of it, maybe they're not. But to me, it was almost like I stopped for a second and was looking at them, looking through these plants and whatnot, and like, pulling them up and saying, oh, this is Spanish needle, and this is cerasee, and this is that, and handing them to Dr. Z. And just like, it made me stop and think about, like, everybody, I always knew that dandelion was used for something, but I didn't know exactly what it was used for. And it was in that moment that I was like, I wonder if I went back home and I started digging through like disturbed soil and looking at all the plants that grow on the side of my house, on the outline of the woods next to my house, what I would find, and if there is medicine there. So whatever, we kept walking through, and they had their machetes, which they call cutlass, and they were like cutting down like branches of like the pimento tree and stuff like this. And it almost like I'm sitting here filming it, looking through the lens of my camera, but like it almost sent me into like this feeling of like, now I know why I was guided here.
Mm-hmm.
It was the documentary that guided me there, but it was still that mushroom trip from the summer that was like, you want to complete that trip, you want to complete that journey.
Wanted you to experience the plants close up.
Here. Yes.
Yeah.
So that in itself fascinated me.
Wow.
So we went to the falls, we all hung out there, we all relaxed and whatnot. On the way back, collected even more. The next day we had the herbal making workshop. And Dr. Z sat us down, and he has this beautiful table set up of all the stuff that we harvested, named them all and whatnot. And I remember for the video, I had shot a little thing of him going around and speaking about each of the plants and all that they can do for you. And just like, a lot of people think that medicine, like dandelion, for example, is a liver. It's liver medicine. That's, everybody pretty much knows that. But it's also good to balance the pH in the blood. And it's really nutritious if you eat the flowers. So seeing him speak about these plants and like naming a plethora of benefits of each of them was just like a spark that like channeled something that was like hovering almost above my aura for so long, waiting to come in, and just sank into me. And I remember sitting down and watching, his students make the medicine and stuff like that. And I just like laughed, and I was almost like, how could I not remember that this was what I came here to do in this life?
Dude, it's such a, I love the story. It's like, amazing. It's
so that, learning that's how my mission, when I came back after that week, I was like, it is now my mission without a doubt. I dropped out of film school when I got out, because I had become so disconnected from the way that they were teaching it.
Right.
And I just really wanted to just dive right into my spirituality and my knowledge of the earth. So I dropped out of film school, and I had taken a couple of years off. And when I got back that week, I was like, I am going to do nothing but educate myself on all of these plants here on Long Island, and I am going to take people here that I know who have no idea about this, or even herbalists, like I said, that practice but don't know that this stuff grows in their backyard.
Right.
I am going to show that to them, because I knew without a doubt, I had done it in many past lives before. It was something that the earth and humanity needs right now. It's very important. And in a way, because you're connecting people to the earth, and when you connect to the earth, even if you just go out grounding, you're also healing a deep side of yourself. So to me, it was like, this knowledge is right here under everybody's nose. Everybody needs to know this, because it's our birthright, and everybody is entitled to share this knowledge with everybody else, basically.
Right.
Yeah, and I'd love to remind the audience of something that I think we've probably mentioned before. There's vitality in the food that we eat, and so often, these oranges that you pick up from the store, I was blown away to find out that the amount of time since that orange has been picked to when you eat it can sometimes be years. It's crazy to think that. Yes, because of the way they freeze these things, flash freeze, so many different processes to keep them. I was blown away when I heard that
Wow.
was like like it could be at the very least months and could even be years old, the food that you're eating.
And it's
And
is
I
Something like an
and
orange. That's surprising. Yeah.
yeah, and an apple, like things like that. It's like
Wow.
all the like they keep them alive for forever. That's why they pick so many at once. Oh, it's no need. It doesn't matter if people eat them immediately. We're going to be able to preserve them for a long time, apparently.
Wow.
So it's crazy. And when you pick that orange right off the tree and you eat it, that's the moment where it has the most amount of vital energy flowing through it, and that energy is kind of cycling down, ever shrinking, ever after it gets pulled from the tree. And beyond that, we're talking about medicine and things that you get an Advil or whatever else. How old is the ground up pieces of whatever natural
Right,
thing might have been
right.
in that versus, and so many of these different medicines, they are often based around one real life ingredient that has been shown to be really good, and then they add a bunch of additional things on top of it so that they can
And then it's old and not
trademark
useful.
it and whatnot. But
Angela
once
says
again, exactly.
she recommends You Picket Farms.
Yeah, picking at farms are great, and I mean, getting them from the roadside things when you can get your vegetables. But in general, when you can go and pick your own things, I mean, if you can go into the woods nearby your
it
home
changes you.
and have an idea, about some things that are there and natural, it's very empowering. And these things that you're pulling, they are vital ingredients for your health, not the very kind of, I don't want to say completely dead, but dying, and dwindled ingredients, which are
Right.
often presented to us.
Right.
So, that's one of the reasons why I got so excited when we met Jack, and I was like, wow, can you teach me some of this? Because
Right.
I see how powerful this is to be able to and not just connect to like food that is vital, but food that was grown where I live, food
Yeah.
that came from the ground that I walk on. Like
Right.
there's an important connection to your place, and you're having the oranges from Japan. I don't know if that's necessarily the best medicine for you.
And
The things
exactly.
coming from from the earth near you, that seems more appropriate
Sure.
for wherever you may be living.
You could take milk thistle, for your liver, but dandelion's good for your liver too. And that it's almost like our auras and our energies adjust to the ecosystem around us, and the medicine that we need, Long Island, East Coast, as a mass consciousness, is going to grow there. People think, milk thistle is the only thing that's good for liver, but that is far from true.
Yeah, may I, a really short little thing, but this was always a problem for
Yes.
me, and something to help the listeners. When you go, because I would be overwhelmed looking at some of these holistic medicine type websites. I didn't understand. I'm like, how can there be 60 different choices for the thing that's good for your ulcer, or whatever? But what it is it's about there's 60 different ecosystems that the old wives and the old grandmothers are living in, where they were having to go get something, and in some places they had dandelions, and in the other places they had other plants that they had to go, oh well, this is good for it. And for them, they didn't know that the dandelions was also a thing. But then as the world has come together and information has been collected, you'll see a whole bunch of different things be recommended often for some of these things. But if you stick with the top couple recommendations, I think that you can feel good about whatever choice you make for any ailment. And I have healed some things with like my children. I think I avoided having to get Logan's appendix removed by what is it? Something grass tea.
Lemongrass?
No, it was
Fever.
it'll come to me. It's a really powerful one.
I'm curious.
Yeah, I'll remember in a moment. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it really these things are great, and don't be overwhelmed. There are a lot of paths to this stuff, and really the only thing to try to do is just try to get as natural and close to the source as you can. And if you can do what Jack does, which is go outside and collect some things.
Yeah, that's a good little shoot, what's that word? The segue. A good little segue. So I pulled a little clip I want to share. So Jack, I just want you to kind of get into that next part of the story when you came back and what you're doing on YouTube.
So for about 2 years, I had done nothing but study, go out into the forest, even in the winter, because some plants are still out in the winter and a lot of the tree medicine is still out. It was my mission. It was the only thing I focused on, was just surrounding myself in my local ecosystem so that I could know it inside and out. I still don't know it inside and out. You learn something new every day, and that is what's so beautiful about life, is that you'll never know it all, but that keeps it exciting.
For sure.
It wasn't until after those 2 years that all of a sudden I started to feel this sensation of the crave to film something again. And I had went back to Jamaica every March for the last for 2 years after that first trip to continue the documentary. The documentary will be coming out this year. It's almost done.
Awesome.
But after that was finished, and especially because everything that's going on in the world right now, it was something that was going to keep me occupied, obviously, because I was put on furlough for a job, and I just was like, you know what, this is the perfect opportunity to share this knowledge with people virtually. Because even if people didn't want to go outside in nature, which a lot of people did throughout all of this, which is excellent, I wanted to share this knowledge with people in Europe and people in China and people all over the world. And I have a very good skill at marketing stuff and whatnot. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start making short little videos, just 10-minute videos on local plant identification, especially because a lot of the plants here are not native. They're from Europe, or they're from other places in the world.
Yeah, it was so interesting hearing about some of those things. For you were talking about the berry bushes that me and my kids were devouring. They're considered like invasive here, because they screw up the dirt and the other things can't grow.
Yes. So stuff like that, because I know people have mullein and garlic mustard in other countries. So I was like, I'm going to make plant identification videos where I ID the plants, where I talk about respectful harvesting, which we'll talk about as this goes on. We'll close it out with that, which is very important. If you're an herbalist, you should start practicing that. And what they're used for and what their cautions are, in a quick, easy to learn way. I've seen some herbalist videos where even I am like, what are you talking about? Because it is just so.
Well, that's what I said I really love about you. And you guys, I urge you, if you're interested in this subject at all, really, Jack is the person to follow. He's very digestible, and he's not trying to show you how wise he is. He really just wants to be able to connect you to the information as simply as he possibly can, and that's the way. That's the way to get the information out there. And we've got a couple questions here. One, I kind of want to
put it up on the screen.
Not quite a question, but Angela was saying something about
Angela,
her garden.
sorry.
Well, I just wanted to say to you, Angela, about your garden. Something about a garden as well. Garden is you controlling reality, you playing God, you growing a thing, and what dirt do you have there? And are you bringing it in from an industrial thing? Or are you growing in the dirt in your backyard? Has the dirt in your backyard been poisoned by a lot of cement and other things by the building of your house? When you go out into the wilderness, it's what is naturally occurring because of the climate, because of the dirt, because of the things. It's what's growing because nature says this is what should grow. And I really think there's a lot of value to that. I just want to point to that. It's cool to grow your own stuff, and having a garden's great and something I want to do as well. But being able to go forage, being able to go to a park and go find some things that are just growing naturally in the world, I think there's a lot of power in that. And I think that's what you connected with when you were out, on your trip. Like, wow, look at this. I'm going to take this home. I bet there's a lot of stuff at my house that I just don't even know. Like,
just that walk in Sunken Meadow Park, there was we must have tasted 10 different plants.
That was even half.
And seasoning and berries and all different stuff.
And it was just a little bit. Jack showed us so much stuff. It was so fun. Yeah. And seriously, so fun. Like to go, if you know anybody or look into walks or whatever, but to go out with a book. you just go, wow, look, and this is here, and look, I found this, and what's this? And it's really just like kind of this journey of discovery, like Indiana Jones kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
it's especially if you connect with it in a positive way and can find some berries that you can eat and some things like that. It's just a lovely thing
Kids
to do
love
with your
that.
kids. Yeah, no, it was so much fun. We went with his like really a wide range of kids, for the day. Me and Michael and Jack and some of his friends, and we had such a great time. And I really do believe that anybody would, discovering where they live. And when you go, oh wow, what's that? Like some of these things that you've seen your whole life, you're just like, oh, I didn't know, and now I know this cool layer.
Yeah, that's a good. The other question that was asked, I want to just bring that up, Mackenzie.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask her.
That's a good segue to it, because that has to do with it. So the question is, what's the best place to get dandelions without having to worry about lawn care chemicals, or do you even need to worry about that piece? Do you clean them or go somewhere remotely?
So I had just made on the YouTube channel is Powerful Plant Allies. That's my series, and I had just made a special for Earth Day called Herbs in Your Neighborhood, and it's a 30-minute documentary. You learn about 6 herbs here on the East Coast, and they grow in other parts of the world as well that you could find just right here in the neighborhood. And the first thing I talk about is, even though I am showing people stuff that literally grows in the cracks in the sidewalk in my own neighborhood, you have to know with 110% certainty that what you are harvesting does not have any chemicals, cement poisoning, anything that
cement poisoning. I didn't even know that was necessarily a thing. Intuitively, I thought it's not so great to have all that dust in the dirt and whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
Well, so you just said that intuitively. That's interesting.
Right. So like if your neighborhood's next to a freeway, you don't want to harvest plants within, I think it's 100 feet of a main road, because it's already contaminated with whatever the hell is coming out.
Right.
Yeah. So like Jesse was saying, the best place that you could find is, I know a lot of like local parks and whatnot, they don't spray. You have to call and you have to make sure that they don't spray. Just ask them, say, I have an allergy,
But they'll do dandelions on like farm stands too, right? Like,
farms and stuff like that. Or you could grow them yourself. You can get seeds, and like Jesse said, your garden is you guard that garden.
You're not spraying.
Yeah, the best thing you can do if you're going to do a little garden for yourself at home or whatever to control some of this kind of thing is to do a nice what do you call it? You make your own dirt just with like the food compost. You save your vegetables, a nice compost, and try to put it somewhere in a corner where you won't necessarily like smell it or whatever, or get like a little cap for it or something. But I mean that you can know what's going in there a little bit, and then if you do like a lifted up thing, with a nice little layer of like some dirt, and get the mainly like that nutritious dirt in there, because that's the big thing, and that's why it's so nice to have like the mix. We're supposed to have this mixed ecosystem, and maybe you can get into more of this. When I got to go to Peru, one of the more fun things that we got to do was go walk with the tribe and see how they were trying to I forget the term for it, but just farming to take advantage of things and not be wasteful. And so often most of our farming practices really take out so much of the nutrients from the soil and don't really replenish the things. We'll grow the same thing on the same field over and over and over again. And there's all sorts of different ways that you can, kind of cross pollinate and be growing things in different fashions so that you really get a healthy soil that has a mixture of different plants in it and a mixture of different things that will then add nutrition to your future growing needs. And the way we grow it, each new batch of fruit or vegetables grown that way, they're less nutritious than the previous one because they don't have access to the minerals from the ground.
Right. What's funny is like with like compost and helping plants grow is like, even in Jamaica, when we went to that hike, there was one time that we had taken a boat over to this beach called Black Sand Beach. And a lot of the Rastas, I guess they take people there when they come to visit, to tour the place and to see Black Sand Beach. And there's this beautiful coconut palm there that I guess they harvest, and they harvest the coconuts and they give them to the guests. But when the guests are done drinking them, they cut the coconuts in half, and there was a pile of like used coconuts at the base of the tree, and that was composting
Right.
coconuts. It was feeding nutrients into the soil so that the coconut palm could suck up all the nutrients through its roots and pump up even more food. So it's
That's so
amazing how soil and nutrients and how important like root health is and what the root sucking up is. Yeah.
That's great.
It is
Yeah.
cool.
Great. Mackenzie said thank you, and Courtney says she's learning like it's earth science all over again.
Yeah, you know, people don't have like, you know, such a perspective. It's, you know, it's funny. My mom's been like threatening my vegan siblings with her recent knowledge of basically how much consciousness plants have, and
Oh my
that
God,
you
that's
know,
so crazy you brought that up.
oh, why were you recently
I
having a
have it written down here that I wanted to talk about that.
She was literally just going like, guys, I know that you're vegans, but let me tell you something. You know, like,
Oh yeah.
and my brother Cody's right. I see it now. My mom does do a little bit of the Jewish mother thing.
That's funny. So you know what? Let's take a just a quick moment. We're running into an hour, but that's fine. We'll keep going for a little bit.
Okay.
But I do want to play a little clip because I think you're so great, Jack, in what you're doing. And again, thank you so much for coming on the show because you're such an example of somebody who's just so in tune with their own self and everything around them, you know, and the connection between the two. And it's so great to even just watch you because that's what I see. I see this synergy between you and everything around you. So it's great. So for people who don't know, I'm going to put up the I do have in the comments here. Hold on one second in the chat. I can copy this. I'm going to put up your YouTube channel. Cool. It's going to be in the chat so you can copy and paste it easily. If I put it up here, it's just, you know, it's kind of a bunch of numbers, but you guys can look for Jack's YouTube channel as Powerful Plant Allies. That's what it's called. And I just want to run a little clip to show what they'll get a taste of when they see it. So let's add it to the stream here. Oh wait, that's not it. That's it.
Greetings everybody, and welcome to Powerful Plant Allies. So today, you guessed it, we're talking about echinacea. Now echinacea is a flowering perennial that is native to North America and southern Canada. It's a part of the Asteraceae family, and it's actually cultivated throughout the entire world for its powerful medicinal benefits. Echinacea can grow up to 4 feet tall with a stem that is covered with trichomes. They have lance, sometimes ovate-shaped leaves, and have toothed margins. The upper side of the leaf is a beautiful dark green and has a few small white trichomes. The flowers are a hot topic for pollinators. They have a gorgeous blend of pink and purple in their petals. The petals form in a ring around a center cone. The cone is coated with sharp spines. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look through this beautiful patch of echinacea, and we're going to see which one is going to offer itself up to be pulled out of the ground so we can take a look at the roots. Now, we've got some white sage right here. We're going to break this up. We're going to offer it up to the plant. Remember, I've stated this in many of the other videos, to always ask permission before harvesting any plant, even if it's in your own garden, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. Sit with the plants for a couple of minutes, offer up some stuff to them, and then we'll get back to you and we'll show you what the roots look like.
So I'm just going to pause it here. I'm going to say, like, when I first saw this, I was so impressed because of your filmmaking experience combined with exactly everything you were talking about, your mission that came to you. You know, you've got this mission, and it's just so evident here. You know, when I watch these things, I just love it. I don't want to play the whole thing. I want people to go to your channel, so I'm gonna pull it out. This is the channel right here, Powerful Plant Allies on YouTube. It's in the
question.
Oh wait, we have a question from the audience.
I have a question. My mom, she's a fierce weed puller.
Oh,
What should I tell her to do? What sort of peace is she gonna make with these weeds? What if they don't want to come?
you tell her to send you pictures, and you send them to me, and I'll tell her what they are.
Wait, wasn't your mom the one who was telling you about the plant's consciousness?
She's not gonna last that long.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, let me take a picture of these weeds. She's gonna go, there's weeds, and they're gonna be gone by the time you tell me what they are.
Well, she talks about plants are conscious. These weeds are plants, and they're conscious as well.
Well, she's not the vegetarian.
Yeah.
She's messing with the vegetarians. I think.
That's just so that's funny. Anyway, let me get to that while we can before we start wrapping.
Yeah, that was a good segue, Michael. That was a good segue.
Thanks so much for coming on the show, Jack. And I hope you guys will take what Jack's saying is really seriously and practically. I have a real passion for it myself. Just spending 2 seconds with Jack, and it's just because he's infectious, and I just totally saw the merit in all the things that he sees the merit in, and he's offering great information all the time on his channel, and you should really follow along with the ongoings of Jack Stanis, because it's only going to get more interesting and better.
We didn't even get to, we didn't even get to talk about his music. I'll just put that up here for people who are interested in his vibe. Maybe we can have him back, for the music part of Jack Stanis.
Yes,
but that's his Instagram right there. You guys could check him out. And the message, I think, again, watching you do your music, I think the message is very similar. You're singing songs about your connection with life and the earth, and those kinds of things are the themes in your music.
So do we need to get anything out of Mr. Jack, or need to promote any of his things before we let him go and wrap up the show?
I just ask that, from what you learned today, and if you continue to walk down this path, do so with respect, do so with an open heart. Like Jesse said, these plants are living beings, and I have a video coming out in a couple of weeks on plant communication. If you're an herbalist, I highly recommend you to get into plant communication, because these beings are willing to talk to you, and they're willing to share their knowledge with you. How do you think the ancient people knew what the plants were used for? They communicated with them. So always go out, harvest with respect, ask the plants permission. It's going to be different for everybody. The communication is different for everyone. Find what works best for you. If you want, like I said, check out that video that's coming out. If the plant gives you permission, you'll know it. With all certainty, you'll know it. There's no way to describe it. You'll just have this inner knowing that the plant is allowing you to harvest it. And if it does not give you permission, you leave that plant alone, and you go find another stand of it, or you go find another plant that's communicating with you that will offer itself up. Do so respectfully, and like I said, with an open heart. If you walk down this path, I promise you one thing, it's that your whole view on life and your whole view on who you are as a person and what the capability of the human body is, you will learn so much about yourself. It's not just about the plants, it's about everything, because everything's connected.
Yeah, I want to back him up too, as somebody who, kind of channels, at a certain point along the way, I definitely started chatting with the plants, and it just reminded me of the giving tree when I started communicating with them. Really, if your approach to them is grateful, it's grateful. Yeah, if it's grateful, they are pretty happy to kind of sacrifice themselves for you in whatever way, whatever way they can be of benefit to you. It's just sort of like, if you line up with them and the appreciation that they're there, that there's this interaction.
Right. You could take me and just be grateful that you're taking me.
Yeah. That really generally is, often seems to be the largest thing. Certainly there's baby plants that you don't need to harvest and things like that. But so often, if you find yourself a nice copy of the plant, I find that they're very kind if you're kind, and I always try to be very kind. There's no reason not to be kind to the plants. If you're talking to the plants, you're probably kind. I think
everyone could do it. I believe yes, can do it. We all.
Well, I think we can all do that, Jack. Is there anything else we need to ask before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'm gonna say because we did have Courtney saying, "What if you can't communicate with the plants at all?" So I mean, we know how we feel, but do you have any recommendations for people to kind of
Um,
what are they looking for? Or and I know you kind of said it, you know, you'll know.
yeah, yeah.
You know?
It's like for example, if I'm, you know, sometimes if I lay down and meditate next to, like, say, a garlic mustard, I'll literally have a one-on-one dialogue, like, in that altered state. But, you know, if you're just, like, you know, sitting there and you're communicating and you're meditating near the plant and you ask it inside, you know, may I harvest you? Like I said, everyone's very different. But for me, if a plant gives me permission, my heart starts to palpitate, and I feel my chakra just going boom, 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 boom. If the plant does not want me to take it, I will get a headache, or I will get a shooting pain in my stomach, like a feeling of like rejection, just like, nope, not today. And it's not in a nasty way, you know. Plants have
Not today.
Yeah,
And then they run away.
Catty, they can be catty, but no, they're living beings, you know, and you just have to. It's like a muscle. You may not get that clear communication, or you may not feel like you got anything out of the first time you do it, but the more you practice it, the more it just becomes second nature. Just like telepathy, people practice telepathy, you know, and the next thing you know, you're speaking to someone across the room and they're speaking back at you, you know. It's a muscle, and because we've been so closed off in the history of humanity, we've just been programmed so hardcore, it's become hard. But in reality, this is just like breathing. It's something that we were born to know, and something that we're born to do. So
there's a swing on the tree in my children's backyard at their home, and like pretty much every time I'm on there, I'm like, "Is this cool? Am I all right? Is this too much weight? Like, I don't want to mess with you. Like, is this all right? Like, but she's always like, "It's all right, baby. You can swing. You're not gonna,
baby." Angela says, "Don't piss off a pecan tree."
That's what made me think of it. She was like, "Don't piss off a tree." It was funny because they had lost a branch during the storm, and I was like, "Oh no, do you not have the strength for this?" But the tree says yes. Still swinging. Nice.
They like to be acknowledged, so I'm sure she's happy about it.
No, they do. That's the biggest thing I've noticed with talking to the plants. I so often I get the message of, "Oh, so nice to be acknowledged." Like that is the main that is the main response I get from every plant I talk to. They're just sort of surprised that I tried to talk to them in the first place.
Right.
They're like, "Are you talking to me?" It's like, is there like an animated movie where the animals are like, "Is he talking to you?"
Oh, I'm sure.
The humans talking to you.
And that's why I've never had a bad experience on, you know, everyone's different, but like on cannabis, I know a lot of people get paranoid, but I think it's because the plant knew who I was deep down inside, and because I had done this for so long in many past lives, I approach it with a very gentle and respectful manner, and that's why it was. And I know you do, Jesse. And Michael. The plants know who you are, even if you don't know who you are fully in this life. They know for you.
Well, you know, we talk a lot about setting space, and you know, as you use the word catalyst, but I think. You could also say that the cannabis created space for us to consider other things, to look at some things a little differently.
We got questions coming in now.
For me, I had that same journey. I think, you know, we've talked about, you know, before, Jack, you know, where not until I was 28, though, you know, when I smoked cannabis, I realized that I had a lot of anxiety and perhaps depression and stuff. Mm-hmm. So for me, it let me relax a little bit, and also changed my mind about these things. And then I went because of Steve Jobs, I've said before, you know, I was looking at LSD and psilocybin, and similarly for me, you know, not quite to your level, you know, for me, like I knew so much of it innately, but I didn't know a lot of specifics. Like I think you got a lot of specifics, you know, of sort of like of what your mission was when you first came in, but I was just sort of like, whoa, I am facing the wrong direction. I'm an idiot. I have a lot to learn, and I need to become a much more conscious person and figure this out. Like I've been living strangely, and it's I was older, you know, too. So like I was like, I have to recon. It took me 10 years to like reconfigure my reality based on what I understood in that one moment. Right. You know, so it was a very similar door blowing off, you know, moment for me.
And I even know nothing. That's the beauty of it. I in the grand scheme of everything, I know nothing and I love it. I don't want to know everything.
I love it.
Keep
So,
learning.
so we
But that's the thing. It's the knowing that you can't possibly know enough.
Yes.
Which is the relaxing thing, you know. It's
not only is he
can't
cool with it,
possibly
but he actually likes it.
Yes, not knowing that.
I'm not just cool with not knowing everything. I like not knowing
I
everything.
know nothing and I love it.
So,
yeah, no,
so
it's
Jack,
fun.
what is your favorite plant and why? Is a question from
Oh gosh.
Angelina.
I would say because of the impact and the gift that she has given me, it would be cannabis. Although I don't merge with her anymore, I feel like she's taught me what I needed to in this life. She will always hold such a special place in my heart, especially because I know I worked with her in so many lifetimes before. Like I know I'll work with her in the next one. Right. She just in this lifetime gifted me that ability to embody all of this, and especially because I believe we're living in a crucial time of humanity right now where we don't get our
indeed
language. But if we don't get it going, we're going to go down a very, very, very strange path, and everything's uncertain at that point.
That's why we're here.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel similarly to very grateful to cannabis.
Yes.
It's funny. I have a lot of guilt associated with my cannabis use, but the thing that kind of kept me going was actually that not only did I get the relief that I needed, but it was such real genuine relief from what I needed that it amassed this huge gratitude towards the plant. So there was like literally a part of me that was like, you're wrong. Like cannabis is helping me. Like, trust me, that spirit is doing me good. Like, I know that, you know, anything can be abused, and I'm going to do my best not to.
Yeah.
But I am definitely getting what I need to out of this experience, and it's helping me to calm down, and it's helping me to get a better perspective on things. And I don't think I'm going to use it the way that I had traditionally used it in the past for forever, even though I do like to use it as spiritual practice kind of stuff. It's a different thing.
She'll let you know. Like, it's funny because when I was at the end of my journey with her, you know, I didn't want to, you know, I kept holding on to that relationship with her and being like, come on, just, you know, merge with me. Let's have another experience. And like, she's funny. She gets catty. She's like, really? You want to learn this again? Well, here you go. Here, take some paranoia and take some this. And you really you want to deny everything I taught you?
Wow.
It's funny. Like, it's like once you, like, you'll know when your time with her is done. It's not done because, you know, you're still working with that. We have cannabinoids in our brain.
Yeah.
We're eternally connected to that plant, whether we consumed her in this lifetime or not. She will let you know, like, I'm done with you, Jack. Go take what I taught you and go take care of it and show it to the world, and I'll see you in the next life.
So funny.
You'll know, man.
Just so you see here, I had it written down. Sentience in plants.
Sentience in plants. Look at that. I like that.
I wrote that down to remind myself because
animism.
And then we didn't even need to talk about it because this validated it all.
And if you can see right here, I wrote down sentences in plants.
You have
very similar sentience and sentences.
Sentience.
Mine says sentences.
Sentience. Is it pronounced sentience? Whatever.
Mine says brick wall.
Yours is a brick wall.
Jack, it's been wonderful having you on the show. Thank you so much for coming and joining us today. Please, everybody, take a look at some of the wonderful bits of educational videos that Jack is handing out. I've heard plenty of people talk about some of these subjects, and rarely do they ever entertain me or make me excited about the thing. But Jack does, really does. And please, I would love to see his infectious joy for the plant kingdom to keep spreading around like wildfire. So please support this man as best you can. And I guess we'll let Jack go, and we can just say our thanks to the board and the people.
Absolutely, Jack. Thank you.
See you, Jack. Much. Thanks so much for being on the show.
If you want to hang out and wait, we can talk to you afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't be long.
Sounds good.
Peace.
So, thank you everybody who's been on today.
Yes, what a good show, man. That was awesome.
Angela, fabulous show. I was so glad to have Jack on. We've been wanting to have Jack on for a while. We love Jack.
Yes.
Jack, you're the best.
Finally getting questions coming in, you know?
Yeah, thank you so much. but we'll definitely have Jack on again. We are getting a schedule together for the Rams Network.
Exciting.
And Michael, do you have it? Do you have it like I sent you all of those dates, but do you have it in order anywhere nearby?
Hold on, I'll pull up my calendar here.
But coming up in this month, we've got my brother Shane is coming on to talk about some of his experiences. We've got my psychic friend, who
Cinderella.
I'm not sure what to say is as his name because I don't want to. I want to give proper names.
Well, you asked me to pull up the list.
Psychic name. Yeah, did you pull up the list?
I have
didn't get
Johnny
the word
Humongous.
back whether or not.
I have Johnny Humongous.
But that's code name. So
okay.
My psychic friend, who is a former police officer, former not former, active musician and active psychic. He's amazing. My friend Cinderella, who's a major spiritualist, who's a rapper, is coming on to the show as well. And we're going to be getting Rudy on the schedule. And my sister Cheyenne says she's down to come. We don't have a date for her yet, but if she can make her own promotional image, she said she's down. That's what it is. She wants to make her own
whatever
promotional
she
image.
can do whatever she wants.
Yeah,
if she wants. I can send her the logo.
But I want to have Jack on next month as well. I want to have him on again. So
we have a telepathy. He was talking about telepathy. I was like, oh, if you know telepathy, we could talk about telepathy.
Yeah, this is so cool. So I would love to have him on again next month. We're going to talk to him when we're all done over here. But shy. And my mom, I was trying to get first, but she is playing this game of being shy. I'm like, she's writing a book, a spiritual book right now. And it's great. I'm editing things for her and stuff. She's writing a spiritual book and she's shy. She's like, no, I can't do it. No, I'm not ready. And she's like, well, this is a behind the scenes person. But I'm going to get her on eventually.
I would ask you to get D on here, but I don't think Shane, I can't go up against D.
Shane and Cody are that. Well, he's got a little bit less to contribute to the type of conversation that we have.
That's right.
But even though he's very much of this same line,
we all love your dad, yes,
but a little different than what we're talking about. But anyway, my siblings, are great. They've all worked with the plant medicine and have very interesting spiritual journeys. My sister's very adept with card reading and a lot of different sorts of reading and astrological charts and stuff like that. My brother Shane's become a real adept with doing hypnosis to regress yourself and connect with past lives and stuff like that. Yeah. So they all really have a lot of things to offer in terms of their own unique spiritual journeys because their journeys are completely different, than mine. Each one of us has a really unique ride here. And I'm excited to have them all on. But we're going to have a calendar probably kicking off next week for hopefully the next 2 months. And then we'll keep it going and we'll be promoting the different things that we'll be having. And I would really love to have Jack back. So we're going to see if we can talk to him about that in just a minute. Awesome. But love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in on Twitch and donating to the Rock Against MS Network. Anybody who's donating, we so appreciate it.
Thank you to the Rams Network.
And it helps our show to keep kicking ass. But we're going to be getting hopefully an influx of new viewers soon as we start getting our show promoted. And we have a nice little steady thing. Monday, we've got the Coolest Alive. And we're getting a pretty cool calendar together for that as well. Because me and Tori and Aaron, we all know a lot of really cool people. So we're coming up with a balance of some cool geeky subject matter and some cool guests to have on. Anyway, love you all. Thank you for joining us.
Love you.
Us again next week, Thursday, for the live stream of consciousness.
Peace.